Planetary Tower Defense.
Planetary Tower Defense has 11 obtainable towers currently and 2 playable game mods, and in this video me and many other community members will help you get into the game, starting off with Patrick.
Yo, my name is Mr. Patrick124346, and today I will be explaining to you what line of sight is. Let's go. So, what is line of sight? Line of sight is what your tower can or can't see. Think of you in real life. If you have a person on one side of a wall that completely covers the person and go to the other side, then logically you won't see them. If something is in between your tower and the enemies, then it will not see the enemies. Pretty simple, right? Line of sight is also one of the factors that is necessary for you to win, especially with the next thing that will come up eventually.
Hey, what's up everyone, Tails50 ESC here, and today I will be talking about the veterancy system, and how it works is when your towers deal damage to enemies, and eventually will give you a star above the upgrade UI, and that will increase its damage and defense depending on your tower in question. Anyways though, there are currently 8 towers that have veterancy. A general tip with veterancy is to prioritize towers that already have veterancy. One more thing is that if you have armor or damage crate, place them next to veterancy towers to make their damage or defense higher. Also, you will have an effect if your tower goes up in veterancy. That's pretty much all you need to know about the veterancy system.
Yo, I am back, and now I will be explaining what placement is. Let's go. Placement is very self-explanatory, if you know what I mean. Placement is very important throughout the entire game, early, middle, and late game. Not only that, but it's also very important for veterancy, baiting, line of sight, how to use placement. So, placement can be quite difficult depending on the map, but for example, in Volker's early game on advanced mode, you would place a machine gunner tower and upgrade it to level 1 in a spot like the middle of the second curve to maximize its range while also giving it time to get veterancy and no line of sight issues. To end my summary on placement is a very difficult concept and is more about trial and error than strategy than anything.
Hey, it's me, Pixelated Tofu, otherwise known as just Pixel. We'll be going over what you need to know about enemy resistances, not to be confused with shield, how to combat them, and when you need to worry about them. When you first play the game, you can get access to 2 of the 4 bullet types, which are bullet and plasma. You can get plasma from upgrading your scout to level 3 or higher, and bullet from nearly every other thing. The other 2 types are fire and explosive, which you can obtain from other towers in the shop or from milestone. During easy mode, there's only 2 resistances that enemies can spawn with, them being fire and basic bullet. But easily, the best way to combat them is using different bullet types. For beginners, Scout is definitely the best tower for that, because in later levels he gets plasma bullet type, and which can just bypass the enemy bullet resistances. And then for people who have other towers like Annihilator and Flamethrower, these are great counters to enemy armor. But with enough fire rate, you can always just brute force your way through armor with enough bullets. In advanced mode, you cannot brute force resistances, especially on harder maps like Ravine. In this mode, you have to deal with every resistance. The first few waves will essentially be the same as easy mode, but in the mid game you will have to deal with security enemies, which typically have high resistances in all but one category. Explosives are the best for them, but there will be scanners and other high health enemies later on, where their resistances are in everything but bullet. Most enemies have resistances to plasma, but not typically that high, usually on average around 50, sometimes 70 or 30%, but once you have a variety in bullet types, you should be sent for any resistances that come your way. There's also a unique effect that certain towers have with resistances. Currently, only the fire types can melt bullet resistances, but in previous versions, level max sweeper could melt plasma resistance. However, this was removed since part 1 of the full release. Speaking of melting armor, we have sentries. Each player can only place 1 sentry at a time, but there are other sentries, like the healing and Tesla sentry. The healing sentry is pretty obvious at what it does, healing any towers in its range of 12 studs by 60 HP every 0.8 seconds. Now there's the Tesla sentry, which is easily the most underrated support in the game. Now, in the support menu, there's 3 crates or caches, whatever you like to call them. They're pretty self-explanatory. Armor which reduces any damage to the towers in its range by 30% on top of what veterancy it already has. The damage crate buffs the tower by 7%, and the velocity crate decreases their shooting cooldown by 7%. These are typically only useful in late game advanced mode and other modes where enemies threaten your towers. Support crates are not stackable right next to each other. The most amount that you can get from an armor crate at a time is 30%. So if you have multiple, you should spread them out for more range. Keeping the train of thought on buffs, we have perks. You can obtain perks from crates, which you can buy from the crate shop or when you win any game mode. Most of these perks, truthfully, just kinda suck, but most of them are definitely worth it. Optics, quick shots, and economics are typically the best perks at the current time. The last perk slot is pretty interchangeable. If you're rich, I would recommend getting the extra slots perk, especially if you're a solo player. However, placement is also very good for multiplayer matches and when you tend to spam a lot of towers. Just don't use wave bonus or cashback if you have other options.